Free parking used to be Vegas's promise to America. Drive here from California, Arizona, Utah. Park for free and try your luck. That handshake deal between Vegas and regular people lasted 60 years, until corporate greed destroyed it in less than a decade. But here's what makes this betrayal even worse. The same executives charging you $40 to park are still getting free valet service when they visit each other's properties. The system works for them, just not for you. Tom Reeg, Chief Executive Officer of Caesars, said in a 2023 earnings call that they are kicking out the lowest-end customers. Parking fees are just one weapon in their war against working-class Vegas visitors. In this video, I am exposing how the parking fee scam really works, which properties are still honoring the old Vegas deal, and the insider knowledge that can save you thousands over the years. What did one casino executive mean when he said free parking was leaving money on the table? For 6 decades, Las Vegas built its reputation on accessibility. The message was clear: come as you are, park for free, try your luck. This was not just a minor perk. Free parking was the first promise Vegas made to visitors before you even walked inside the casino. It was the foundation of the relationship between Sin City and the everyday Americans who built its empire. From 1946 until 2004, no major casino on or off the Strip charged for parking. This was not an accident or an oversight. It was a deliberate strategy, acknowledging that most visitors drove in from neighboring states. The free parking covenant recognized that you were already bringing your money to gamble, dine, and be entertained. The casinos understood this basic exchange: you bring your dollars, they provide the convenience. But in 2004, that 6-decade promise began to crumble when station casinos became the first to implement parking fees. And here is the most painful part of the betrayal. They tested it on their most loyal customers first, the locals. These were the very people who had built Vegas, who celebrated birthdays and anniversaries at station properties for generations. The most loyal customers were the first victims. Let me show you exactly how they coordinated this betrayal. The year was 2004, when station casinos made their calculated first move. What makes this especially cynical is that station properties had always positioned themselves as locals' casinos. These were not tourist traps. These were the places where Las Vegas residents celebrated life's milestones. Birthday parties, anniversaries, weekly poker games with friends. Station was woven into the fabric of local Vegas life. Their strategy was devastatingly effective. By targeting locals first, they could test the concept on a captive audience with fewer alternatives. What were locals going to do? Drive to the Strip to gamble? The historical context makes this even more painful. Station properties like Palace Station and Boulder Station had built their entire business model on local loyalty. Many employees knew regular customers by name, and this is how that relationship was rewarded. The real impact rippled through local communities immediately. Seniors on fixed incomes who enjoyed their weekly bingo suddenly faced an additional cost. Families celebrating special occasions found an unexpected charge on top of their celebration budget. The locals who built Vegas were the first to feel the sting of corporate greed. Fast forward to 2016. MGM Resorts saw what station casinos had gotten away with and decided to implement parking fees across all their Strip properties. The scope was breathtaking. Bellagio, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, The Mirage, Luxor, Excalibur, New York, New York. Overnight, free parking vanished from much of the Strip. The numbers tell the story of why they did it. MGM immediately generated over $100 million annually from parking fees alone. This was pure profit because the parking structures were already built and paid for. The maintenance costs did not suddenly increase. This was simply extracting new revenue from existing infrastructure. The industry response was predictable. Other operators watched carefully, monitored customer reaction, and MGM's quarterly earnings reports. Would tourists revolt? Would they choose other destinations? When they saw minimal immediate impact on visitation, they prepared their own parking fee structures. Perhaps most revealing was a quote from an MGM executive who called free parking leaving money on the table. This statement perfectly encapsulated the shift in thinking. Vegas was no longer about providing value to build loyalty. It was about extracting maximum dollars from every square foot of property. By 2017, Caesars Entertainment had watched MGM's parking fee experiment and decided to follow. The irony is especially bitter. Just years earlier, Caesars had proudly advertised their properties as a no resort fees zone, directly criticizing competitors who added these hidden charges. Now, not only had they abandoned that promise, they were adding parking fees on top of resort fees. In a 2023 earnings call that should have made headlines everywhere, Caesars Chief Executive Officer Tom Reeg made an astonishing admission about their overall strategy. He said they were deliberately kicking out the lowest-end customers. This was not a slip of the tongue or a misunderstood comment. It was a clear articulation of corporate strategy. Certain customers were no longer welcome in the new Las Vegas. The revenue numbers industry-wide are staggering. Across all major casino operators, parking fees now generate over $400 million annually. That's nearly $500 million extracted primarily from middle and working-class visitors who drive to Vegas from nearby states. Money that used to stay in visitors' pockets for gambling, dining, and entertainment now goes straight to corporate coffers before you even enter the building. To understand why this happened, we need to look at the forces driving these decisions. Wall Street pressure has transformed casino operations. During quarterly earnings calls, analysts repeatedly demand new revenue streams. Casino executives are judged not just on overall revenue, but on finding creative ways to extract more dollars per square foot. The real estate economics are particularly revealing. When you calculate the revenue generated per square foot, parking spaces with fees now outperform many slot machines on the casino floor. A parking space generating $40 per day requires virtually zero labor cost, no maintenance beyond the existing structure, and delivers pure profit. There is also the factor of customer captivity. Once you have driven to Vegas and checked into your hotel, what are you going to do when you discover the parking fee? Leave. Drive back to California? The casinos understand this leverage perfectly. You will grudgingly pay rather than abandon your vacation plans. Perhaps most disturbing is the evidence of coordination. At industry conferences, executives have openly discussed parking fees as a method of customer filtering, a euphemism for keeping out lower-value visitors. This is not competition. It is collusion against the very customers who built their empires. Here is where the hypocrisy reaches its peak. While regular visitors pay up to $40 per day to park, casino executives receive free parking when visiting competitors' properties. This is not speculation. It is standard industry practice. Executives from MGM can valet park for free at Caesars properties, and vice versa. The professional courtesy extends throughout the industry. Meanwhile, casino workers still receive free parking at their own properties. This makes perfect sense. You cannot charge your employees to come to work. But it highlights the absurdity of charging the customers who pay everyone's salaries. High roller guests continue to receive complimentary valet parking while regular visitors pay premium rates. The message could not be clearer. Rules for thee, not for me. The system works perfectly for those at the top while extracting maximum value from everyone else. This two-tier system perfectly encapsulates what Vegas has become. The hospitality industry that once prided itself on treating every visitor like they mattered now openly separates valuable guests from those they consider expendable. The public response has been overwhelmingly negative. Reddit forums and travel sites are filled with parking fee complaints. Threads with thousands of comments describe strategies to avoid these fees, and many visitors vow never to return to properties that charge for parking. Tourism impact surveys consistently show parking fees as a major dissatisfaction factor. In feedback forms, visitors often cite parking fees as their number one complaint, above room quality, service issues, or food prices. This is not a minor annoyance. It is fundamentally changing how people feel about Vegas. The local backlash has been particularly fierce. Las Vegas residents, who have supported these casinos for decades, feel personally betrayed. These are people who recommended properties to visiting friends and family, who celebrated life events at these casinos, who were proud ambassadors for their city. For families, the impact is especially severe. A weekend family trip now includes up to $160 in parking fees alone. That is before a single meal, show ticket, or gambling dollar is spent. For many middle-class families, that is the difference between coming to Vegas or choosing another destination. The deeper issue is what I call revenue addiction. Casinos have become dependent on fee revenue rather than gaming revenue. When quarterly earnings are reported, parking and resort fees now make up a significant percentage of total profits. This fundamentally distorts the business model that built Las Vegas. This market distortion is pricing out the very demographic that built Vegas. The middle-class families from California, Arizona, and Utah who drove in for weekend getaways are increasingly choosing other destinations. The math simply does not work for them anymore. Regional casinos have noticed this opportunity. Tribal casinos in California and Arizona now actively advertise their free parking as a direct counter to Vegas fees. Their marketing specifically targets drive-in customers who feel priced out by Strip parking charges. These ads ask why drive farther to pay more. It is a compelling question. The long-term damage to visitor loyalty is incalculable. Vegas spent decades building a reputation as a value destination where regular people could feel like VIPs. That goodwill is being sacrificed for short-term revenue gains. And once lost, it may never be regained. We are now at a critical inflection point. Current data shows tourism numbers down, while parking revenue continues to climb. This is the worst possible combination. Fewer visitors are paying more fees. It is unsustainable. Families are the clearest indicator of this breaking point. When a family of 4 calculates the total cost of a Vegas weekend and sees $30 to $40 per day in parking added to resort fees, room rates, and food costs, many are choosing alternative destinations. Orlando, Southern California theme parks, and cruises are directly benefiting from Vegas pricing itself out of the family market. The industry panic is beginning to show. Properties are quietly offering free parking promotions to win back customers. You'll notice these offers buried in email promotions or as limited time specials. They are testing the waters for potential rollbacks without admitting their strategy has failed. Some executives are finally acknowledging they went too far. In private industry forums and conversations with investors, there is growing concern that the fee structure has damaged Vegas's core value proposition. But publicly admitting this mistake would require refunding millions in fee revenue, so the public stance remains unchanged. These are not isolated complaints or minor inconveniences. Real customers are sharing stories that validate everything I have outlined. Families report spending more on parking during their stay than they did on gambling. Think about that. The parking lot is generating more revenue than the actual casino for these visitors. Locals describe avoiding their neighborhood casinos due to parking fees, breaking decades-long traditions of weekend visits. The social fabric of Vegas community life is fraying because of corporate greed. Business travelers note the irony that they can expense parking fees while leisure travelers absorb the cost personally. This creates another two-tier system where corporate visitors are insulated from the impact, while individual travelers bear the full burden. You are not imagining it. The math really has changed this dramatically. What was once a minor consideration in your Vegas budget now requires significant planning and adds substantial cost to your trip. The strategy is now visibly backfiring. Vegas tourism numbers are declining while parking revenue continues to climb. This is the definition of a short-sighted business model. Extract maximum value from a shrinking customer base until it collapses. Regional competitors are gaining market share with free parking promises. The tribal casinos of California, Arizona resort destinations, and even Laughlin and Reno are benefiting from Vegas's missteps. Their marketing explicitly targets those feeling priced out by Strip fees. Customer lifetime value is dropping as loyalty erodes. The casino business model has always depended on repeat visitors who develop property loyalty over decades. When you drive loyal customers away over parking fees, you are not just losing today's revenue, you are sacrificing lifetime value. Most telling is that properties are now offering secret parking validation deals to win back customers. These are not publicly advertised, but are offered to select guests who complain or threaten to take their business elsewhere. The fact that these exceptions exist proves they know the fees are damaging their business. But I did not make this video just to complain. I want to give you actionable strategies to fight back. Here are the insider strategies they do not want you to know. Many casinos will validate parking with minimal play. Often, just $10 in slot play will unlock free parking validation. This is not advertised at the entrance, but if you ask at the Players Club desk, they will usually share these options. The Players Club desk is your secret weapon. Even if validation is not officially offered, desk attendants have discretion to validate parking as a customer service gesture. A friendly conversation can save you $30. Even low-tier Players Club cards often include parking benefits most people never claim. Sign up for free, use your card for minimal play, and suddenly, you have complimentary parking. Properties like Tuscany, Ellis Island, and the Palms still offer free parking. These are just a short walk or a quick rideshare from major strip attractions. The total savings make this strategy worthwhile. The math is simple. Even if you pay $10 for a rideshare to the strip, you are still saving $20 to $30 compared to parking directly at strip properties. Over a 3-day stay, that is up to $90 in savings. These off-strip properties also tend to offer better gambling odds, lower food prices, and a more relaxed atmosphere. You might find you prefer them to the corporate mega resorts. Nevada Resident ID still unlocks special parking privileges at many properties, especially station casinos. If you have friends or family in Vegas, this can be your ticket to free parking. There are informal guest pass networks through local communities. Vegas residents often have access to employee parking or validation codes they can share with visiting friends. Do not be afraid to ask. Locals also know the timing strategies for non-enforced hours. Many parking garages have periods when validation isn't checked, or fees aren't actively enforced. These vary by property but are well known among residents. Many garages have early morning or late night periods when gates are open without fee collection. Arriving before 8 a.m. or after midnight can often get you free entry. Weekdays before 4 p.m. are golden hours at several properties. The enforcement is lighter, and validation requirements are often waived during these slower periods. Event days require special strategies. When major conventions or sports events are happening, parking enforcement is strictest. Plan to use alternative transportation on these high-demand days. Fashion Show Mall across from Wynn offers retail validation with any purchase. Buy a coffee for $5 and save $35 in parking fees. The save math is obvious. Treasure Island still has access points with looser enforcement. Their connection to Fashion Show Mall creates opportunities for savvy visitors to park once and access multiple properties. Chinatown and the Arts District restaurants often partner with transportation services. Some will validate your parking or even provide shuttle service to the strip if you dine with them. Support local businesses and beat the parking fees simultaneously. Mid-tier Caesars Rewards and MGM Rewards status often includes free parking that most people never claim. You may already have status that qualifies without realizing it. Hotel loyalty programs like Marriott Bonvoy include parking benefits at their Vegas properties. If you are staying at properties like the Cosmopolitan, your existing hotel loyalty program may cover parking. Loyalty can save you money. First-time sign-up bonuses for players' clubs frequently include immediate parking benefits. Even if you have never gambled before, signing up for a player's card can instantly save you on parking. Bonuses matter. Properties just 1 to 2 blocks off the strip often have free or dramatically cheaper parking. The small inconvenience saves you $30 plus daily. Monorail station parking alternatives exist at several points along the route. Park for free at strategic locations and use the monorail to access multiple strip properties. Monorail options can cut your costs. Walking Vegas streets gives you the real experience anyway. Some of the best food, drinks, and attractions are not in the mega resorts, but in the spaces between them. Vegas executives broke a 60-year promise, and they bet you would just accept it. They were wrong. You have been betrayed by the very people your loyalty made rich. Share your parking fee horror story in the comments, and let's expose how far this greed has gone. Hit like if you are done being a corporate cash machine, and subscribe because we are just getting started fighting back. Which casino parking scam hit you the hardest?